Get it started. Okay. Talking about CRV, this was literally what I was just looking at. It's because one of my students was asking me, how do I get into this now? It's not too late for this one. If anyone's thinking, oh, I've missed out on CRV, don't think that. Just zoom out. It's not too late at all, right? Um, you shouldn't be entering right now, but you are literally, as we speak, shifting structure, right? So your last lower high, your last major lower high that led to your major lower low is being taken out. All you need is either flip something like this, or all your scenarios are basically either buyers confirm now this is support and then you go higher, or buyers eventually you go up, hit your higher targets and then have a pullback, or you reject here and then put a higher low in, right? So all entry scenarios for CRV right now is the high low coming in, whether that's higher or lower, it doesn't matter. You're saying the structure has shifted, you're just waiting for the high low to come in now, right? But yeah, CRV does look good. It's pumping. Everything's going off one after, and it was beautiful, especially yesterday when all the Dinas were pumping off. It was so nice. Memes were just crashing yesterday across the board, and then Dinas were popping off. Beautiful to see. Right, but let's start with our majors, right, and then we'll take it from there. So Ondo back to 165. Yeah, I see, it's absolutely crazy. 198% up from our average entry down over here. So let's start with macro. So let's go to Dixie first. We'll take it from here. So Dixie for now, this is looking good in the sense that, okay, we've taken the raid off the raid and raided that, right? So it was your initial, like I said, between the black lines. There's your true range, right? And then we got one raid on liquidity. You have the macro 382. You have a supply zone there as well, which is completely mitigated, right? So you had a reason as to why you could go here. You had liquidity pockets, but then what you kept doing is you kept SFPing below the 382, right? So this is why I gave so many calls back in 2023, because you could see that, okay, more and more as this pressure built up, and as you were in September, October, right, and October started to finish up, you still weren't getting above the 382. This is why, because now I see that, okay, you've gone into a zone of liquidity and buyers keep attempting to break out, but they can't, right? That was the problem. You're hitting your macro fib speed fans as well, so you're hitting diagonal resistance, right? Confluential diagonal resistance, not just any old diagonal resistance. And then you get the breakdown, reconfirmation, you're back within the range. So then you're targeting this. You're saying, okay, risk on assets are probably going to have a nice pop, right? And then you bounce again, chop again, and then you go up and you raid the raid. So now in between the two white lines, that's the raid of your true range. You've now gone and raided that, taken out the external liquidity as well, right? So you've wicked above, grabbed the liquidity that was present here, and then that's followed by a bearish engulfing candle. This is for now what you want to see, right? Because if this weekly now, or even the 3-day, the daily, but preferably the weekly, of course, we want the follow through down to the weekly. If the weekly closes below like this, what you have here in my system is something called a buyer and a seller zone. Area where sellers were active, area where buyers were active. Together, it represents an area where both sides of the market are willing to duke it out, right? So whoever controls this zone controls whether this goes higher or if it goes lower. So if you put a lower high in here on the weekly and it closes like this, then the likelihood of you putting in a distributive structure goes higher, and I'm thinking we get a nice move down, right? Maybe this will coincide with the 18th of December, because we know that is when the next FOMC meeting is, right? Maybe they chop you here for the next couple of weeks, right? You stay above the black line, like, basically on the precipice of either saying, oh, buyers have reclaimed or sellers have reclaimed, right? Keep it very, very ambiguous. And then whatever happens in the FOMC, perhaps that's the decider of, do we get that Dixie big spike up towards 110, 109k targets, right? Or do we then get the crash back down to go back towards range lows? And this time, if we do this, I expect the range lows to break. I expect new low, locally speaking, I expect this range to finally break, right? We've had basically a double top, triple if you count this, and we've also basically had a double bottom, right? So we've had a raid and more than a double bottom for this range lows. So whatever happens, the 18th of December, if we don't get resolution before then that is when I'm expecting those big pump up. If this happens, expect a pullback on Bitcoin, right? Maybe that dump towards 80k or whatever. If that doesn't happen though, then expect we're probably not going to get that dump people are waiting for. We're probably just going to keep grinding higher. Maybe one more impulse up, right, to 101, 110, 120 even. Maybe one more impulse up before the actual crash happens, But we'll have to see. But now for a full-blown alt season, right? For a full-blown euphoric, green dollars across the market alt season, you need Dixie going down, right? You need global liquidity stimulated, and preferably in the 28, not in the 18th of December FOMC meeting, Jerome Powell decides, maybe it's time we stop the QT, right? Maybe it's time we go into QE instead, quantitative easing, right? What that is, if quantitative tightening is when the Fed reduces the risk on their balance sheet, right? They're tight, so they're not really buying up like government bonds, any contracts like this, so they're limiting the risk on assets, right? If it's quantitative easing, then they're obviously actually stimulating it. They're going out, expanding their balance sheet, so they're buying assets, right? That's what we want. We want that economy stimulated like that. So maybe they announce it and we go into the mother of all pumps, or they don't. Something bearish is said or something like this, and then we get one flash crash maybe before actually going up. We'll have to see. But the Dixie is at very important areas. Technically, it's not fully bearish yet. You're literally holding your true range highs as support, mitigated order block as support, right? So above this, there's no reason to be bearish, but also below this now, after a raid, locally speaking, this could be the start of a distributive structure. That's what I mean when I say it's anyone's game. One side has to show an edge here. Seller showed an edge here, but now you're at an area where buyers could easily outdo that edge, right? You're also at an area where sellers could easily follow through. So we need follow through basically. Doesn't matter which side it's from, I just like resolution. I hate when we're in areas like this where it's a coin flip on what happens. But that is the Dixie, right? So I'm just going to keep tapping back into the chat just to, if you guys have any questions, I'll just take a look. Okay. Next, USDT dominance. Now, USDT dominance, we have got something very, very good going on. Let me just do this. Create a group of drawings, lock it in place. There we go. Right, so we know. Right, have I got a group? I should have one more. Not this one. There we go, that one there. That one can get closed off for now. Yeah, that one's fine. There we go. Very simplistic view right now on USDT dominance, but right over here we can see that big area we were talking about, right? That very, very reactive zone basically. That very, very reactive zone. We have had a breakdown and a failure to recapture on the weekly. Right, so that is something confirmed, right? This is very, very nice, right? This is a very, very big first step towards actually getting that USDT crash. Now, we also know USDT is being printed in record numbers, which could be another reason why this is happening, which is why I'm not fully convinced yet, right? So we have a shark that is forming right over here. I want to see what kind of reaction we get as we go down over here. Do we raid this, recapture and do this, or do we actually, so this red line is what I like to call your external like supply line, or in demand line in this case, right? That is the, let's say, furthest you could get while still maintaining trend. You have one tap, you have a second tap, right? I'm not gonna count trend lines like this because now that is, in my opinion, that's way too much, right? Maybe that's your targets, but that's not what you're actually trying to hold. Maybe this is where we go in the bear market, who knows? Sorry, bull market, right? Who knows? Maybe that we dump all the way here in terms of USDT dominance. But for now, I want to see what kind of reaction we now get at the red line, right? Because the only reason I'm saying this is because USDT is being printed in record numbers, right? Which is of course going to have a impact on USDT dominance, right? So as if we do something like this, that is your, like, no more trying to be like, oh, but something could happen. That is your very clear, a telltale sign that we're probably going to boost on lower, right? But if we do something like this, and then this, obviously, expect one more move higher, deeper crash on Bitcoin, this would correlate with Dixie going up, in my opinion. And then we get a proper move down, right? So again, this scenario would line up with perhaps we get like 102 to 108, 109, 110k Bitcoin, something like this, and then have a crash, and then maybe after that go towards 120, 130k targets or something like this, right? And I like to pair this up with USDT plus USDC dominance, like we always look at. And my bear market for this, bull market for normal crypto, target for this is the 886. You have a really nice macro batch structure, not validated yet. To be validated, of course, you need to first go and hit the D to begin with. Then you need this to hold, right? If this harmonic hits, And then you see signs of bullishness, right? You see like buyers stepping in, you see like local double bottoms happening, you see rates on liquidity that's immediately recaptured by buyers. That is when I'd consider taking some profits across the board on like on a major scale, because then you're saying you've hit a macro wave structure on USDT plus USDC dominance, right? And obviously, if you're expecting the harmonic targets to play out now, and let's say, you know, 1 second, you get your fib settings, and let's say we go to the 886, you're looking for your T1 to be somewhere in this region, right? So 1 sec, let me turn off this one once. You're looking for your T1 to be here. So you're saying, you know, you're not going to be surprised if from here you get a boost up towards there. Your T2 is all the way over here, right? This is obviously going to correlate with a very, very deep bear market. And if you decide to take the fall, it's going to go up here. Now, I don't think you hit these targets, right? Of course, I don't think you hit these targets for now. But, you know, T1 and T2, even just this, that can cause a very major correction on Bitcoin, right? Plus your alts, right? And if you flip that and you go to this, then, yeah, it's the gulag season. So if you see signs of strength, and that's, of course, that again, that's if this harmonic gets validated. But if you do go and see signs of strength here, please do take profits across your whatever swings you're in. Don't keep thinking, I know people are going to give you 200k, 250k, 300k targets. Just understand, right? Every bull run, the targets get higher and higher. Every bear market, the targets get lower and lower. That's the whole reason, even though we had amazing confluence and amazing entry opportunities at 15k, hardly anyone bought, right? And it's going to be the same reason why there'll be amazing signs telling you to take profits. Hardly anyone's going to take profits because they think we're going to keep going higher. It's just psychology, is fear and greed, right? So don't fall privy to your emotions. You know, have your targets already. Ask yourself, do you have a plan to exit the market? If you don't have a plan to exit the market yet, what are you doing? Make yourself a plan, okay? Entering is just as important as exiting, right? It's all well and good if you make 5, 6, 7, 8 figures, but if it's there unrealized in exchanges, not in your bank, that's all it is, numbers on a screen, okay? Make sure you realize your profits. And don't listen to anyone that tells you with certainty we're going to get to 250k. There's no certainty, okay? If you see, like, obviously I've already told you guys, if I see macro bearishness, if I see distribution coming up, I'll be telling you guys, you know, I'm getting out of the market here, I'm taking profits, hedging shorts, leaving just moon bags open. But if we, as long as we don't see that, there's also no reason to be bearish. It's all about, you know, being able to read the price action once you get the significant areas. I know I say this every stream, but that's literally all it is. Find your significant areas, and then have the ability to read the price action at those significant areas. What's happening in terms of buyers and in terms of sellers, right? That's going to tell you everything you need to know. Charts will always tell you what you need to know before it happens, right? So example of this, literally, like how the dinos have been pumping recently, right? Charts have been telling us that, look, accumulation has been there, the macro harmonics have been hit, buyers are stepping in, levels are being defended, sellers aren't being rewarded for their actions. That's everything you need to know. Position yourself in dinos, right? XRP went, ADAR went, XLM went, right? And then Zcash went, LTC is going. Many of these dinos are now pumping, but it's not happening out of nowhere, right? There's always signs, there's always breadcrumbs left in the market, right? There's always footprint you can look at. So in terms of USDT and USDC dominance, this looks very, very good. Right? I'm just going to be eyeing this level for the bear market. So let's see if we get it or not. Yo, sup Kalo, brother? How you doing? Sup Ryu? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's good, brother?
Yo, sup,
How's it
brother? It's been
going?
a while, man. You good?
Yeah, well, man, been enjoying these market conditions, and obviously, as you were mentioning, utility projects have been booming. A
Yeah.
lot of liquidity has been transferred between different sectors, but it's nice to see actually good products, right? Like
Yeah, exactly, bro.
HBAR, XLM, XRP, doing very well.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure. Oh, but especially like the XRP subreddit. I saw this post yesterday where people are literally just like, bro, paying off mortgages and buying cars, going on daily
Yeah.
vacations. Crazy.
Bro,
It's like,
I didn't buy enough XRP when I bought my original spot entries at like 50 cents, and then I
yeah,
bought in later on heavy. But yeah, it's been going crazy because it's a government utility coin, right?
yeah,
There was
exactly.
I took a leverage trade on it the other day when it had a little pullback to $2.12.
Yeah.
So that was very nice. I'm up like 6 grand on that.
That's
But yeah, it's
congrats,
been
bro. That's nice. I
well.
wonder where Wog is because I remember always talking about XRP with him. He'd always be
Yeah,
mentioning
I sent him a
XRP.
DM the other day
Yeah,
with XRP's price. I was trolling him.
yeah.
He's always shitting on it.
Uh, oh my god. But yeah, bro, it's
Uh,
vibes, man. It's good.
Yes,
Um,
vibes, 100%.
yeah. Plus, it's quite sunny today. It's been great. So out in the Derby, it's quite sunny today. So after this, I'm gonna just go out and enjoy the sunset a
Yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah, definitely, man. Nice to have clear skies for once, eh?
Yeah, exactly, bro. For sure, man. Bro, what, you not seeing sun?
Hey,
Uh,
listen, he's the weatherman. He predicts the weather on the chart.
it's yeah, it's quite warm here today. So
Mm.
why is it great where you are, bro? Great in London. Yeah. Think I'll be there. I'm gonna go to London for like a week in December. Because my sister and my
Yeah,
mom.
let me know, bro. I'll come pick you up. We
Yeah,
can have
sure, sounds
a
good,
steak
bro.
and a coffee.
Yeah,
It's long overdue. We were meant to meet in Barcelona.
yeah, yeah. Sounds good, brother. Yeah, let's do it. Sunny in Yorkshire. Nice, bro. Yorkshire. Nice.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. Right. Let me get back to this. Okay, so USDT, BVOL. Right. Probably gonna set up for some crazy rallies like this soon. Bitcoin dominance. This is what we've been waiting for. Big SFPs at what used to be a demand zone, okay? Huge demand zone over here in history, became mitigated as soon as this came in, right? So I know most people who do liquidity pockets would delete their zones as soon as it's been mitigated, i.e. as soon as it's been used up. A tip I can give you, don't do that. Okay, so this is what one of the things I go over um, is do not mitigate liquidity pockets, don't delete it as soon as your actual liquidity pocket is done, because even though this is no longer a actual liquidity pocket, we can still use in terms of price action what this represents to base our thesis around, right? So what is a bullish liquidity pocket? For those of you unaware, we're basically saying this is an area where traditionally speaking, in terms of the structure, we're saying big orders have come in here, right? Institutions, big traders, they've had their bids filled in here. That's why we've had such an insane reaction here. The supply's just been wiped off the market in this area. And there's other reasons, of course, why we call these liquidity pockets, but that being the main one most people go with, right? So all we need to know is what we're saying. Bullish liquidity pockets, we're saying we're expecting buyers to be in control over the sellers in a bullish liquidity pocket. We're expecting demand to be greater than supply. Right, so when something gets mitigated, obviously this is now gone out the window. If this happens, we're saying, okay, when we actually got to the area, even though this was expected, what actually happened is sellers took control of the buyers, right? Meaning supply was greater than demand. So this is why most people delete it. But I think it's a missed opportunity if you do so, right? So one of the things I do, I call them mitigated liquidity pockets. I will label it as such. These can be excellent areas for you to read price action in the future, based simply off what we expect in terms of buyers versus sellers, right? So if we'd gone here, and then we'd seen on buyers actually holding this level, we kind of are retesting, compressing, then what we're saying is buyers are once again attempting to control and attempting to show control, right, in an area where they were meant to do so, right? So it's already a key area that was meant to be for the buyers. So then if the buyers are going to reclaim that area, that is a thesis to be long on the asset, right? But if you go back to that area and then you see something like this, either rejection of the mid or rate the highs and then close below, what you're saying is supply is clearly still present here, right? So what you have is a mitigated liquidity pocket, an area where you expected buyers to be in control, but then sellers completely ran through it. And now you have confirmation that buyers are indeed no longer in control of this area and sellers are still in control of this area, right? That will give you a reason to be short on this asset. If you're going short on Bitcoin dominance, that simply means you're going long on alts. Okay, so that's one way you can look at this. Other ways being, of course, macro 382, 60.05%. The area we were talking about has been hit. You front run this level for now. I'd have loved it if you went and rated this, but it's what it is, right? You can't always have a perfect move. You also went to hit the macro 786, 764 fan, right? From the top to the bottom. This is a deep extension zone. You hit another lower high here. So what was once resistance is still resistance, is what we're saying. It was resistance here. It was resistance here. It was resistance here, right? This level's been resistance since 2017. You just further confirmed it as resistance again. So this looks amazing. So of course, if we get something like this now, right, that would be even better, because what you'd have is you'd have initial resistance, you'd have your radon liquidity, and then you have a confirmation of resistance. So you'd have that distributive structure coming in on the weekly, right? So this would be perfect. And you know, if you missed any alt moves and you do get this move back up, this is where you then look for more alt plays, right? You rotate into ETH, rotate into Sol, anything that looks like has a good Bitcoin pairing that looks ready to go, you can manage your risk on. You rotate onto those, right? But for now, of course, Bitcoin dominance is now approaching support. So if this does hold and we get that move back up, expect your alts, especially if they've already had an extension, to have a slight pullback as money goes back into Bitcoin. Right, so that's how you do this. But this is a very, very good sign for now. So either, you know, you do something like this, which would outplay this, and you get a move higher on Bitcoin dominance, right? Which would correlate, in my opinion, with either us getting a flash crash in the market and Bitcoin not dumping as much as anything else, or this would correlate with Bitcoin actually going much higher than my anticipated 110 to 130k targets, right? If we did go do something like this, for example. But for now, let's go with what we're seeing, which is SFP, is distribution, right? So something like this would be perfect, right? And this is where I'll look for more alt entries. But if not, then, you know, lower high here. If you get this lower high here, you're just looking for breakdown now, right? But this is a Bitcoin dominance. If you've been waiting for alt season, then this is a very good sign to do. So this paired with the fact USDT dominance is going down and DIX is currently at potential areas where it can reverse, this is very, very nice, right? But yeah, Bitcoin dominance, this is what we want to see. We've been grinding up. Now we just want to see distribution. Right? Again, I don't think it's going to be one big spike down. Okay, you're going to have some sort of, if you see some sort of like, you know, structure where it's distribution taking place even lower, forming, that can be a sign of continuation. But again, my ideal scenario right now would be create a lower high again over here. Right? So that's Bitcoin dominance. Upside down smiley face, exactly, Dino. You get the upside down smileys, what I like to call them. Right, Ethereum dominance, let's take a look. At Golden Pocket, at the macro 236, very, very confluential area. Even if you don't want to look at it as fibs, if you just look at it in terms of support and resistance, we have a seller zone on the weekly back from 2019 that has clearly been resistance over time, and you are attempting to hold it as support. So you've raided this resistance, right? Raid, if you then get, I don't care if you go a bit lower, reclaim at this, Ethereum dominance goes up. But screw Ethereum dominance, right? You only look at this when Ethereum is actually taking the lead. What you're going to be looking at is ETH against BTC. Every day, I'm just literally every like 4 hours, I'm opening up 0.05, 0.05, 0.05, 0.05 on ETH against Bitcoin, right? I've got a $300 challenge account. I want to see how high I can take that $300 challenge account strictly just on ETH BTC, right? So every day, every time I see a bullish 4-hour candle, just 0.05, 0.05 in ETH against BTC, right? I'm just opening along, and I will keep doing so until we go and reclaim this area and we get above this low here, right? Because we know that structure. Once we do that and we're above the mid of the 3-month fair value gap, I'll start lowering my position sizing as I'm sizing up, because I don't want to be sizing up heavy here, right? My heaviest bags are just going to be built down over here. And then the final size up is if you ever flip this into support. That'll be my last size up. After that, you just hold this ETH against BTC to go higher. But yeah, ETH against BTC, I don't think this goes much lower, right? If I'm wrong, there's not much risk to me at these areas, right? That's the thing. I'm pulling the trigger at an area where, even though sentiment might not be the best, I know risk to reward wise, this is where it makes sense to do so, right? So I'm just gonna pull the trigger here. I'm slowly building positions on this, and if I get stopped out, or you know, if the structure is lost, I'll just close for minimal losses, right? Because the risk to reward here is very, very good. But if it doesn't happen and we don't lose this red box, then I'm expecting higher. Right? It makes more sense now to go higher than it does lower, basically. Because if we go lower, what we're basically saying is Ethereum's again going to stagnate and not move, right? But I don't think that's going to happen. If we look at Ethereum chart, or even Total 2, for example, if you look at Total 2 is currently at resistance, yes, right? But it's got targets higher, right? Total 1's already at price discovery. Total 1 is against the top of this parallel channel for now. If you take a real quick look at it, just pinning it from this low to this low, and from this high to this high, right? That's the channel on Total 1. This is the exact same channel that you sent me, bro, in DMs. Yeah, that's the channel. we have a macro AB equals CD, perfect 786. Can I say, look, ABC, perfect 786, 1.272 is the extension target. Pretty much a perfect 0.5, right? 2.0 is the extension target. So for now, I want to see what happens when we get here, right? If we go higher, then we're just going to have to use pure old fib extensions or trend-based fib extensions to get our next targets, right? We won't have much else apart from Elliott waves to do so. But for now, as far as structure goes, this is as far as there is structure. Right? We're way above our 1.272 of the 786. So literally, I want to see what happens at this zone. This, I'm not saying this zone is going to be the top, right? I'm saying this is an area where you expect some sort of significant price action to take place. If it goes straight through, that's still significant because this zone is significant, right? Even though it goes straight through, what you're basically saying is, look, this basically has been invalidated, right? Because the only way you validate this if that SFP'd and you ended up closing below and then rolling over. If that doesn't happen and you start getting weekly structure building above this, right? What you're saying is, with this area where we were expecting sellers to step in, that's what you're saying you're expecting once the pattern completes. These are both bearish ABCDs, and if buyers are straight away in control of that, then you don't even have a thesis to be in a short or anything like this, right? So you just expect higher. But approaching, total one is approaching the target that I've got mapped out, right? Which is why obviously I'm not going to be opening up massive Bitcoin longs or anything like this where we currently are, right? All I'm doing is scalping Bitcoin if I'm trading it, that's it. Now it's more on the swing backs we've been building over time since September, right? And before. Those are the ones where the plays are at. Because even though total one is close to topping out, we know total, this is total DeFi, never mind. Total others, right, has much higher targets. Total 3 has much higher targets. These have way more room to run. Even total 2 has much higher targets, right? So you're, in terms of your return on investments, Bitcoin isn't as attractive anymore. Yes, it was really attractive at 15k, at 26k. That was the swing I'd open from 2023, right? That one's fully closed. I closed that at 73. So the current swing I've opened on Bitcoin is from 39k, right? I'm pretty sure I gave that on the channel like last year, but that's still the swing I'm still in, right? That 39k swing. And once we go and rate the targets that I've got, right, and I see macro distribution coming in, I'll just close it. And if I see total one blacking out as well, I'll take some profits off that, rotate into alts, right? But total 2 still has room to run. Of course, now you're a resistance, so be careful. Like, you could do something like this. If that happens, of course, Ethereum is going to have a pullback, right? Or what you're looking for is this. If you flip, honestly, rate all-time highs, I'd say go towards the 272. I know this is the next 786, okay, but it's very close. Considering this is on the macro, I'm just going to take that as a 786 and give myself a 1.272 target, okay? Total 3, same thing, 1.272, right? We've hit the 1.618. You had the 618 retracement, 1.61 extension's been hit, and guess what? You flipped it, right? So this is what I mean when I say just because I have a line there doesn't mean it's going to reject that. You watch price action around there. What did we do? We went to the target and then flipped it into support. So now you're saying, okay, we're pretty much going to go and rate all-time highs, right over here. And then once you do that, your external target right now sits at 1.272, which is 1.36 trillion. And we can reevaluate once we go there, or once new wave structure presents itself. So maybe, you know, you go up here, create another ABCD in the process, right? Then we can have new targets on the way up. But as far as what's actually on the charts for now, these are the only 2 targets I see to the upside. Hang on. What about this? That is a 594. Is that within the 618 tolerance? No, that's just outside of the B point tolerance for a Gartley, isn't it? I mean, either way, the target would have hit. So okay, never mind. Yeah, these are the 2 targets I see, and total others, right? This is others. We're going to towards our first target, right? We can see historic support resistance. We have the 1.618, the ABCD 1.618 at 456.22 billion. Flip this, then rate all-time highs at, again, now this is Mayweather, 0.87, basically 886, 1.13 on the reciprocal, right? 547.5 billion is the target I've currently got. And we'll evaluate what happens once we get here. I don't want to give you guys higher targets yet, just in case, you know, because you can say I'm not going to do that, but if there's any beginners in the stream, guarantee you're going to be very, very inclined to, even subconsciously, to ignore these targets and look for the higher ones. You're going to be like, oh, I'm going to make so much and so much if you go and hit that target, right? So I'm not going to give you higher targets until we get clear resolution on these, Okay, so for now, just focus on these. Now, this is total DeFi. So this saying like a month or two ago, total DeFi looks great, completed M shape, right? That's a macro bat right there. And then going into the bat, you have consolidation, breakouts, right? You took the B point, hit your supply line, and then higher low for your actual type 2 return, right? So high low happened at the flip of resistance into support, and this is clean. Now you're breaking out, you've broken out your downtrending supply line, you've broken out your parallel channel, and now you've also broken out from the B point. So you've got a T2 target right over here. Above that, you've got the D point again of the 1.618, right? So from that 618 reciprocal ratio is the 1.618. And then after that, you've got your all-time high targets, and the rate of that's going to take you to 221.36 billion. So let's see if we can get here this bull market. So all just targets laid out for you, right? And then last but not least, others dominance looks absolutely amazing. If you guys remember me saying, this is why I was saying, look, it's very easy for you to be in alts right now, right? So the one trigger I gave you guys, even if nothing else, right? What I said was, if you want to know whether to be in alts or not, it's just to look at this. If this is within this or above this zone, be in alts. If this zone is ever lost, get out of alts, right? That was the simplest strategy I gave you guys. We never lost that zone, right? You're in historic support for others dominance, right? You have a Gartley, you have an M shape with a type 2, right? The type 2 gave you revalidation of support, right? So that's the reason. Hopefully you can see why I was saying it's so easy to manage your risk on alts here, right? Because you can literally buy your alts, right? Especially if it's spot, you can buy your alts. You don't even need to look at your alt chart. You can give yourself macro invalidations, and then you can just get cut your alts collectively if this zone was lost. That it was very, very easy to manage here, right? But now you're obviously getting the breakouts. You've now broken back into your other range, right? Your old range, your old support will turn into resistance, broken back in, held it as support. So now you're going to be at the range mid for now. That's why you're rejecting. But range highs is where you're going next, right? So maybe go there, take out the C point, chop around some more, and then go higher. Take out the A, right? So that's others dominance. So you can see like just from here to here how much alts have already popped, right? Like if I was to go here and look at crypto heat map, even if you consider the ones not in the top 10, right? Many of them, if you consider the ones not in the top 10, you can see across the board we have amazing just returns across every single altcoin, right? Multiple X's, and that's just a move from here to here, right? So of course this is now excluding the top 10 coins, but even if you exclude the top 10 coins, we've had some really, really nice gains across the board on altcoins, right? So this is why, this is the exact reason I was giving this as your macro invalidation. If this lost, just get rid of all your alts, right? But if this isn't lost and you hold it, well, then you're saying this is going to go higher. And if this goes higher, you're saying the market cap O2 altcoins not in the top 10 is going to go higher, i.e. coins not in your top 10 are going to start increasing across the board, right? But that is others dominant. So let me go back over here. Yo, sup bro, how you doing? Aloha. Nice. Prediction for ETH low. Let's take a look. What do you mean by prediction for ETH low, brother? Do you mean like how low do I think ETH could go? Like currently, do you mean, or like next bear market? So but anyway, that's all the that's all of that. So only thing we need to look at now. Actually, no, we already looked at ETH against BTC. So let's look at CME real quick. That's still there. Don't know when that gets filled. I do think we have one more drive higher left in us, but let's see. I'm happy to be proven wrong. If this does hit, we'll probably get some good bid opportunities on alts again. And ETH has filled this CME gap. This has been filled, so ETH doesn't have any, basically. Okay, great. Yeah, ETH looks good for higher. The downside targets have all been taken out, basically. But yeah, let's go to focus. Oh, this drop. Okay, let's take a look. So, where we currently are for ETH, I like to call key inflection area, right? So this is your next historical range. We're saying as long as sellers are in control of this zone, we're expecting to trade within this range, okay? But once buyers flip control, especially of the mid, then we're expecting to trade within this higher range. For now, sellers are still in control of the mid. We can see you hit the midline, mid zone, let's say, and then reject it, exactly like you've been doing in the past. All of these zones were created based on 2021 data, by the way, right? So I'm not fitting any of this. It's been the same. What we're going to be saying here is we're saying now, as long as 3581 is held as support, you don't need to expect any lower. Okay, if 3581 is holding supports, and for example, let's say the daily keeps closing above, you just don't anytime you see like a wick lower, and let's say you do get, what's ideal here would be big wick down, stop out anyone long locally, but then a close above, right? Basically SFP to the upside. You could actually take a long, right? A lower time frame long, based off this one level here. Right, so that is 3581, but that have to be a lower time frame entry, not a swing, because of course Ethereum can do something like this and still be fine, right? So any trades taken here now should be lower time frame. But when you do this, I think it's a very, very quick move up towards 4640 minimum, right? Because basically every time you break into a new range, it's very rare that you don't actually go and test at least the mid of that range, right? So I'd be 4382, let's say, I'd be looking at for sure, and then after that, the chances are you probably do go and hit 4640, this area here basically. But if you lose this on the higher time frame, right? If you lose this and close below on, like, let's say the weekly, and then you actually get a reconfirmation of this being a resistance, I would honestly expect, don't be surprised if you get 2826 ETH again, right? Anywhere between 3000 to 2650, but I'd focus on the top half of the zone for now. So for now, I'd say if you get a macro flush, right, I'm talking like 30% drop on Bitcoin, right? Which isn't uncommon for a bull market before you start, thinking it's impossible. Then anywhere between 3000 to 2826, the top half of the zone is where I'd be looking for bids, which would actually be very nice because, again, like Dino was pointing out earlier, what is this? You'd have a very, very nice smiley face coming up. Why is the smiley face good? It's accumulative, right? You have your initial supports, radon liquidity. Think of this like the spring, right? Then you have the spring back test. You're reconfirming that what was one support is still support. What this does is it confirms this move down to be deviation, right? Meaning all this was a manipulation tactic to get FOMO shorters, right? People shorting the breakdown. There's going to be trap traders here, meaning they're going to be forced to cover high if they haven't already done so, generating liquidity. Right, so then you'd be looking for that move higher. What was one support is once again confirmed to be support, and you've confirmed you're out of this deviation range. So this would be lovely if you got it on the higher time frame, blue. That's what I'd be looking for like a swing entry. That's what I'd be looking for now. Yeah, anything's better on a higher time frame, brother. It doesn't matter what kind of TA you do. Higher time frame is always going to have precedence over the lower time frame, just because higher time frame is going to have more volume, right? So you're less likely to be chopped out. The data you actually have is going to be more significant on the higher time frame than is the lower. That doesn't mean the lower time frame is useless, right? So one of the tactics I employ is called time frame alignment. You're looking for higher time frame structure, higher time frame thesis, and then executing on a slightly lower time frame, right? So that's a very powerful way to enter the best of both worlds. But in general, yeah, top-down analysis is called that for a reason, right? Higher time frame always trumps the lower time frame. Lower time frame just to sort of really try and get that precision in. But higher time frame, you're actually going to find out where am I interested at, looking for this area and stuff. Once you start in January, we're just going to be focusing on a lot of higher time frame stuff. So you'll have all the tools in your hand, bro. Okay, so we've looked at BTC. Actually, no, we haven't today, but let's look at it. BTC, nothing to update yet. That last area we'll be looking at, which is that weekly buyer-seller zone, right? Areas where we have both buyers and sellers and buyers being active. That's the last area I could give you guys because we're in an uptrend, right? There's no historic data. We have to go with what's being shown currently. This was the area where a load of bids were happening last. Right, so you broke out, retested successfully, still haven't lost it, right? So this retest candle, it'd be nice if it'd gone higher. We didn't. Looks a bit toppy for now, but at the end of the day, until we actually lose the structure, no damage has been done, right? No damage has been done until we actually lose the structure. So up until we basically do something like this, don't expect any higher time frame flushes, right? But if you go down now, and on the 4 hours on the daily, you start to see the mid being turned to resistance, you start to see SFPs coming in at 93k from the underside, then maybe you can try and hedge a short, because again, you would have local distributive structure. Maybe that would take you down towards 82 to 80, right? You have another fair value gap on the weekly over here, 77 to 73, and then you have your 3-month seller zone right over here. That would take you all the way. Worst case scenario, like let's say 69, 68. Right? I don't think you go that deep, but if you were to get hit, if you were to get smacked across the face with like a 40-50% dump, that's where it would take you. Right? I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything, just giving you valid areas depending on how hard we dump, where you would look for. If it's not a hard dump, right, then literally The next area I'd be eyeing up is over here, right, somewhere within this zone, 82.75 to 73.581. If you get a super hard dump, then I'd be eyeing the 3-month seller zone, which is right over here. That is between 71.320 to 73.757. And why I'm giving you these targets is because, again, if this is your first cycle, please don't think it's going to be up only. Bull markets always met with, you think bear market shakeouts were nasty, bull market you have it 10 times worse, okay? Because you're smacked with, it's literally like you've been taken down from behind, right? It's like a stealth kill because everyone's so euphoric and all of a sudden, bam, 30%, right? Bam, 26%, 18%, right? It's 27%. And then, you know, if you get a deep bull market correction, then you have your 48 to 55%, right? I don't think we get a 55% correction, not yet anyway, right? But even if you average these out, you go with, let's say, a 20 to 25% pullback from this top, that's still going to take us towards like the area I was given, right? That like the fair value gap sort of area. So towards, let's say, around 76k. So don't be surprised if we do tag 76k, and don't flip bearish if we tag 76k, right? The only way you should be bearish now literally is this: if you go and close below 64 to 68,997, if you literally go and close below these highs again, then yes, flip bearish, right? But as long as you're literally above this, you literally, what have you done? You've gone to previous all-time highs, consolidated, chopped everyone out, reaccumulated, had a new high being put in. So anything above here now is literally just new structure. Don't flip bearish until this is lost. Okay, anything down here is going to be good bid opportunities. But yeah, that's Bitcoin. So if you do get hit with like a 20, 25, 30% dump on Bitcoin, then that target I give you for ETH would probably be probably hit blue. But that's ETH. So let's look at Sol next. Sol locally now, that was very, very toppy. What did you do? Again, there's your previous all-time highs, weekly seller zone. You went and you raided it. You closed below the mid, right? Meaning this is now confirmed to be a raid, right? This is not a breakout, this is a raid. So this is a very easy area to actually hedge a short. I've not got a short open on Sol. I missed this, right? I've been really busy recently. The restaurants like actually booked out for the next month, so running around like a headless chicken. But that would have been a really nice opportunity to actually take a trade, right? I missed this, what it is. So now you're below your ABCD 1.272 as well. So let's see what happens over here, right? So for now, this is the area I'm eyeing. Let's see what happens once you get over here. This is on the weekly area again, where both sellers and buyers have been active. That's the reason I'm eyeing this. If you lose this and turn this to resistance, you have resistance, raid, reconfirmation of resistance. Maybe you get slightly deeper Solana. I'm not thinking range lows again, but maybe like even towards local structure, right? 170, something like this, and then go higher perhaps. But as long as you hold this as support and you don't put the inverted smiley in, I think from here you could probably do this. Maybe chop around some more as other coins get rotated into, and then rotate back eventually, right? Everything works in cycles at the end of the day. You've hit your first target. Look, we still have a higher target, 309.61. I do not see anything else. I do not see anything else on this chart. Wait, is Grasati still in the stream? I was gonna ask him if he had any harmonics for Solana, because I don't see any harmonics personally. I tried to put one down like this, because that could be a 382, but this is too deep, right? So there's no harmonic that this is going to be validated to. So I can't see anything on the higher time frame for Solana. So for now, I'm just going off the ABCD. But yeah, so that's Solana. See what happens between 215.30 and 201.02, right? See what happens there. Injective, very, very steadily grinding up. You've literally gone on, taken out, even on the monthly now. Your last lower high, that led to the lower low, right? So even on the monthly, even if the weekly break of downtrend wasn't enough, you've gone and done it on the monthly too, right? So I'm telling you, if Injective gives you a pullback, a nice little pullback like this, you see chop, range being formed, you bid this, okay? I don't need to buy anymore. I've got more than enough. For my top 10, I'm fully positioned for my top 10, right? These are the main ones I've been telling you guys in my position since like the lows. So I'm fully positioned in all of my top 10. I don't need to size up, but if I get the opportunity to, right, then I will, right? Because then it's just gonna be risk-free size ups. So if we see like something like this happen, for example, or even something like just this, right? Maybe I'll do one last size up, because technically you've been putting in like a 2 week, weekly, monthly high or low, right? I expect triple digit inch, so that's the reason. Very, very simple here. You don't take a long where you currently are. Don't open anything where you currently are, because I cannot give you a valid risk management strategy for this, for the way I would do it, right? If you were to enter here, you're going to have to severely reduce your position size, okay? If you do want to enter, at least wait for a flip of 32.953 into support. Okay, wait till this gets confirmed into support. You could try and take lower time frame entry model entries. Try and go for like a scalp to swing mindset now, right? The reason I'm saying this, if you haven't been bidding when I've been saying like, this looks good, I'm bidding, but now you're asking for entries, well, I can't give you an area if I wouldn't enter here, right? So the best bet is have your key levels in hand and then try to get that lower time frame entry model, because then your risk management is going to be tighter. Risk to reward wise, it'd be worth it. If I tell you to enter now, you're going to have to be okay with Injective doing something like this, because even if it did this, the chart would still look fine. You could have dumped to $23 again, the chart would still look fine, but you are going to be deep in the red, right? So either basically look for a lower time frame entry model, hourly to 4 hours. If this gets flipped, right, 32.953 gets flipped into support, enter on the confirmation candle with stop losses below your local hourly structure lows. Or just, you can still use my laddering in strategy, right? 20% for CMP, 40 for DCAs, or when local resistance gets turned into support, and 44 when the trend shift occurs, right? You DCA in, which means you're fully positioned, right? By the time the actual trend is telling you we're in an uptrend, right? Or in a downtrend if you're trying to short. On the weekly, we've already done that, right? On the weekly, we took out the last lower high, right over here, that led to the lower low, and then we put a high low in following that, right? We've already done that, so we're fully positioned already. Average is literally below the grey box, right? If you try to do that now, your 20% entry here, your DCAs, you're going to have to be okay with DCAing somewhere as deep as 25 to 23. You can still enter spot, but just know you've no longer got an ideal entry. That's the point I'm trying to say, right? So what you traded for so most people don't enter at these areas because obviously sentiment is shit, right? Before we actually get the green candle, sentiment is shit. It's still fearful. Obviously we haven't pumped yet, so is it going to make a new low? There's uncertainty. So in terms of emotional investment and psychological investment, it's hard. I understand it's hard to open when no one's talking about something, it's in the red. But the trade-off, if you don't open here and you look for just comfort, is you then have to be uncomfortable when the people who did trade here are rewarded, right? The people who entered here, they're going to be rewarded here, and your the reward you got not entering here is obviously you weren't as stressed, right? No stress. You don't have to worry about, oh, are we going to dump anything like this. But now the downside to that is always a give and take, right? The take to that is if you do pump, you're going to get a much worse entry now, right? It's what it is. So either you get blessed with a pullback, right? Now the risk is maybe you don't get that. Maybe you literally do this, flip and go, right? Because once accumulation's done, there's no reason for them to give you a retest, right? Retest is ideal, does not mean it needs to happen, right? There's this belief that people think, oh, we've broken out, we need to retest. You don't need to do anything, right? They might not give you that retest. They might just send it up and retest somewhere above this zone instead, completely mitigating this, right? If that happens, obviously you're now sitting in your hands because you no longer have a valid entry strategy. That's the best thing, right? That's the one thing we look for as traders. All these areas we were talking about, right, back even a few months ago, the first half of this year, all of them had areas where you had a valid entry strategy, valid risk management strategy. You don't have that here anymore. And this is the warning I gave. It's like once you pump, you will no longer have a valid risk management strategy, right? So if you enter here, it's pretty much a coin flip. You're not entering because you have an area where you can put a stop loss, an area where you can DCA. You're entering because it's green. You might miss out, right? That's a coin flip. That's no longer a valid trade, right? You can't call this a trade anymore if you take it here. Not unless you can give to me a logical reason why you would do so and why your invalidation would be at a certain level, right? So either use very, very slowly laddering on spots, right? And that is now you trying to mitigate your risk to the downside. Of course, now the problem with that is the problem with entering slowly here is if you do then get another, like, let's say 10% pump, you're nowhere near fully positioned to really capitulate on the gains, and it's just going to become that much harder to manage your risk even more, right? So again, that's just the give and take of not entering at the lows versus waiting for something to pump and then trying to enter. But hopefully, if you guys are still silent on Inge and you want an entry, you get something like this. That'd be honestly ideal, right? That'd be very, very ideal. We can see that on the 2 weeks. We have a buy seller zone, pull back into here and go. If you get this, you know, it's very, very lucky entry, right? Because again, you're not guaranteed a pullback in an uptrending market, right? So that is Injective. Aptos 5% up. You are now finally taking out the yellow box, right? The yellow box has been taken out. The structure here was beautiful. You hit your 5.0. This was the last entry given, right? The last one. So this was the last size up basically. Average is down over here. We broke out from your actual 1.13 bearish harmonic target, flipped it into support multiple times, right? And now you're breaking out of this range. So again, your risk is elevated if you decide to enter right now. You might have a lower time frame entry strategy if you get a pullback to this, right? If you get something like this, you'd have a lower time frame entry strategy. But if not, you don't get that pullback now, I wouldn't blindly enter, right? I honestly wouldn't. Wait for a new structure to form on Aptos. Next target, $16.47. In my opinion, that comes very, very quick. And after that, main target is right over here, right? External liquidity, this big zone up here, basically. On the weekly, you can see that. If I was to draw that on, that looks like this. There's your main target. You have a daily seller zone from history, and you also have a weekly seller zone from history, right? So this is your main target. So now I anticipate this to be a new range, right? From this top to somewhere here, basically. I anticipate this to be the new range we trade within for Aptos for now. That's if this isn't a liquidity rate. If this is a liquidity rate, then of course maybe something like this happens. Otherwise, I expect something like maybe like this, right? Consolidate some more and then go up again, perhaps. Probably take the highs and then consolidate and then go up. So I have a feeling this is going to be a new range for Aptos between 1439 to 2035, basically. Because above this, straight to 2950. Above that is price discovery. Right, so not much major resistance left for Aptos, basically. Yeah, smiley faces. Right, what's your Vanry entry? You got in at 0.13237, you say. Let me take a look. Vanry's next. 0.13237. Okay, so basically you got in somewhere around the flip of this zone. Not a bad entry at that. I mean, it's not the the structure entry, but that if you're going to enter based on impulses up, that's where you do so, right? So that's not a bad entry at all. Let me get mine up. I did size up quite heavily on this one, just because of how deep it's actually gone, right? One sec. My average for Vanry is 0.07. That's my average right now, 0.077. So the last size up I did, my average is right over here, 0.077. So I'm currently up 112% on this. You're approaching macro resistance, 4 month, this is 4 month seller zones, and basically areas where buyers and sellers have been active. So if anyone's position maybe a bit too heavy on this, and you do see profits you're happy with, do trim some if you see weakness here, okay? But if you don't see weakness here and this flips, it is a very, very clear shot towards 0.24 for Vanry. So for my top 10, I've already said this, but for my top 10 swing plays, right, I'm not going to be taking profits until I see actual weakness coming in on the high time frame, right? Chop doesn't count as weakness. Until I see actual weakness, signs of distribution, I'm not going to be taking profits, right? That's the way I do it. I have got a separate trading account for entering these plays where I actually want to play the setups, right? For my long-term sized investment bags, I'm only going to take profits when I see macro weakness. But yeah, Vanry's up nicely. And this is your next really big resistance cluster right over here. Possible entry on Vanry now? Yeah, sure. Let's see what could happen. Now, these aren't guaranteed, of course. So the last time we talked about it was, let's see if we get the flip of the grey box, right? So this was the 25th of November. So that was literally, that was happening after like last week open. So last week's stream we were talking about this. Let's see if we get a flip of the grey box. We did get a flip of the gray box, right? We got it on Tuesday, which is when we did our last stream. We got the flip of the gray box. So the last entry given was literally over here, and now it's let's see. Well, nothing I see is ideal. You're gonna have to go with lower time frame entries. If you're looking for a swing entry here, your risk management is gonna be pretty hideous. Because for me, right? So this is the thing. If I was to warrant entering a swing trade here, I'm only gonna do so with my invalidation being below this red box, right? Which is what I was talking about last stream. I was saying, okay, you can try and enter here with invalidation below the red box, because then you'd definitely be back within your old range, right? So if you decide to swing here, which I wouldn't recommend honestly, I'll do DCA1 at 0.1355 and your heaviest DCA down here. So you're going to have to be severely low position size to account for that chop. Okay, so again, that's why I wouldn't recommend a swing. I'd recommend lower time frame entries. For lower time frame entries, if we go onto the hourly and you get a pullback back towards this level and you get a raid and then a reclaim of 0.1533, that is where I'd enter. Okay, so again, raid, reclaim, right? Raid, reclaim. You might not get the raid. You might just get this, right? Because you have a demand zone over here. The reason I like the raid better is we know along the lower time frame there's stops here, right? So anyone who entered here, the stops are going to be either at break even right now or just a bit below. So that raid would just be telling you, yes, we've stopped our people, and then the close of up will be telling you this was just a liquidity raid. So then once that close of up happened, and then you see that confirmation of a close of up, I'd enter there with stop losses below the raid low to try and target this, right? So honestly, don't forget about swinging this for now until you get like a deeper pullback. I'd look for lower time frame entries. For spots, honestly, move back towards 0.1355 is the only way I'd consider spot for this now, if you're not already in. Otherwise, look for lower time, scalp to swing mindset basically, right? Lower time frame to higher time frame mindset now, because your lower time frame entry is going to be, your risk reward is going to be much better, right? You don't have to worry about your macro invalidations. And then if you get stopped here, just look for the next entry stop. At least you're not risking so much liquidity, right? So this is the one way I'd enter now, is raid on liquidity and reconfirmation, or a breakout and retest of 0.1670. That's another way you could enter. Neither of them being ideal as a swing, of course, but again, if positions weren't built down here, that's just a trade-off, right? Obviously, it's going to be much harder now to actually build a position. So anywhere between 0.1533 and 0.1670. Either the low, raid and flip, or the high, raid and flip before going higher. Same scenario, just different levels. Both 4-month levels, buy seller zones are very, very important levels still. But right now, if you can see, in terms of this, you're in the middle of the range. You don't have an edge here. Okay, this is a gamble. You're at the fate of the market makers and the algorithm. Not even the market makers, you're at the fate of the algorithm in this particular area. So wait until a key level is taken out. Take a look. Let me just catch up with the chat. Nice entry, Gary, bro. That's good. Oh, size up on Vanry, you mean still, right? So to size up on Vanry, well, here's the thing. If you enter now, your size up is gonna be at a flip of 0.1670. Okay. Let me see. Hang on. Do we have anything else we can use as Confluence? Let me try and see. Let me make this as easy for you as possible. 5-day, nothing. Weekly, nothing. What about the monthly? Yeah, nothing. Okay, so daily. Back here, I hesitate to call that a supply zone though, because that candle structure's okay. Here's one where we're gonna do it. Right, hang on. Here we have a bullish order block. Okay, there we go. I would just scrape at the bottom of the barrel for you here, bro. Right, here's a bullish order block. Used to be bullish liquidity, right? We had a breakdown. Same thing we were talking about with USD, with Bitcoin dominance, right? And then we expect buys to step in, right? Got mitigated, sellers to control. What you're currently doing is buys are currently attempting to recapture this area. If you do this and you flip this area, you have a nice entry. You have more confidence now as to why this should be an entry. So if you enter right now, your size up is once the mid slash this, right? This zone right over here between the 0.5 of the actual zone and this 0.5 in terms of the seller zone. Once that yellow line and the white line gets flipped into support, that's your size up. You're trying to move it up over here. Okay, you're not going to get more confidence than this on this one. There is nothing else you can be doing. So if you do decide to enter a small position now, your size up is over here. DCA is down over here, like I was saying, in these two zones. Above this, you go higher. But if you keep seeing weakness here, you can also take a head short. For anyone that's actually already positioned, if you keep closing below like this, right, you can try and take a head short with stop losses of up. I'd wait for one more drive up. I think typically what you see with structures like this, you get a couple days of building, one raid, and then a breakdown, right? So I'll wait for that one raid. So if you do decide to short it, don't go full position size. If you get that one raid, size up on that, and then if that, of course, size up if the close is below the zone, right? Not above. If it's above, that's a breakout. You don't want to be blindly shorting a breakout. But if anyone that is positioned from lower, you can also try and take a head short here. Okay, head short. You're not holding this as a swing to make new lows. Okay, you're holding this simply to try and protect yourself against any downside. You are going to be TPing aggressively if you hedge your shorts here, and it does play out, right? You're not going to be saying, oh, this could go down all the way to here. No, don't think about that. Okay, your main priority right now is the spot back. You're in an uptrend, right? This is just to protect yourself against any local downside that might be coming your way. And you can, once you take profits on that, you areas where you would think, oh, but this is where you should normally bounce, cut that, rotate it either back into spot, back into your swing, or open another position size on another coin, memes, whatever you want. Heck, go to holiday, whatever, right? But it's at a logical area for you to watch for any signs of weakness / distribution to try and hedge a short. So basically, flip this for higher, or keep like turmoiling under this for lower. Very simple. At key areas, right now as we speak. Whoever controls this zone dictates either this or this on Vanry. We look at GOAT. Actually, I think yesterday I was trying to look at that. I could see a potential trade setup. So we look at GOAT. Can we look at Say? Of course, we'll look at Say. We'll look at Pepe. What the hell is Chess? I'll take a look at you, bro, sure. But is that like a low cap? Okay, so Vanry, AVAX, guys. I'm going to keep saying this every stream. Remember when I said people are going to be asking me to do TA on AVAX, especially the newcomers, right, who've been around before the actual move up. One day AVAX is going to be at $60, $75, and heck, triple digits in my opinion. And people are going to be asking me to do TA at AVAX on this levels, and I said we're going to look back at these times fondly. We're getting there. Look, we flipped this. Distribution has not been confirmed. Your next target is this T1 zone area, okay, between 65.61 to 71.06. Of course, you could have local resistance here, but if this is a successful T2, right, this is a successful T2 type 2 return. So I'm expecting terminal 2 to get hit at some point. Right, triple digit AVAX is not out of the question. Okay, please don't think it is. Very simple on this. If you want an entry, you want a retest of the grey box, something like this. Okay, otherwise don't even try to enter this. You've missed the boat. You've got no structure. Okay, let's see what happens here. So AVAX, very, very simple, very, very quick. You have no arguments for why you should buy right now, apart from it's green and I'm feeling FOMO, which is not a good trading argument. Okay, high volume breakout candle, what you love to see. Okay, so let's move on to Say. So this is the trade we looked at last week, right? I said, look, if you get that weekly close, right, this is the trade we'll be looking at last week. I said, look, this is not your ideal trade entry now, because you are at a 5-0 of a bearish harmonic, right? So here is your bullish harmonic, your bullish bats, and that is the bearish 5-0. So I was saying you could expect some downside from here, right? So we said, look, as long as at the end of the day, as long as Say doesn't lose this red line / doesn't lose this zone, everything's fine, which is why the invalidation was as it was, right? That would be like, okay, you've lost all of these zones, but for now, yeah, you're holding Say. Say's holding. So next target for Say, if you decide to rate these highs, is 0.7429. After that is between 8266 and 8438, and after that, right, any chart from here straight up towards $1.145 and then to new highs. Okay, so that is Say. Let me see if you had an AB equals CD on Say. Actually, looks like you had the structure for it. So if I do this, here's your low, here's your high, 6.598. Close to a 618, so I hesitate to call this a 1.6. Nah, not there. Not yet. Oh, but I'm kidding, because what you do have over here is a very, very nice ABCD. I can't believe I've not drawn this down yet. Sometimes I'll go brain dead, I swear to God. A, B. Your C is basically an 886, right? So let me just make that say 886. 886 is 1.13. So if I do this, right, 886 on the C means you're looking for 1.13 on your extension. Okay, $1.26 as your radon liquidity is the target for say for now. There we go. Lock that in place. Bam. Let's take this. Let's go to settings. This is $1.2659. We're going to put that down. Oh, that's, look at that, perfect. Right text. AB equals CD. This is the 1.13 target. Okay. Until new wave structure presents itself, this is the only macro target I see for now. I'm gonna make this. Since the harmonic's black, I'll make this white. There we go. Okay. This is where I would then, this is where I would chill out and be like, okay, perhaps, we get some sort of top coming in at the rate of this level. But that is say $1.26 target for now. Of course, we could go way higher. I'm just going off what I see on the chart for now, right? If you were to switch to log and look for log charts and so on and so forth, we could definitely go higher. So right now we're just getting the alt rotation because of Bitcoin dominance, like I've been saying, right? Bitcoin dominance is going down, also getting some liquidity put into them. That's what's going on. So that's say. The target was given, so now I would not look for fresh trades until this, right? If you're looking for a fresh trade on this, wait for this to get flipped. When this gets flipped, you've got to trade on say, right? And if you don't get the reclaim at that, look for a flip at this level instead to go here. Okay, and you can do that for every zone. Look for a flip at this to aim higher, right? If you enter here, TP here. If it gets flipped, size up. You can try and go up, try to catch it, build it back like that. But say looks amazing again, absolutely amazing. Everything in the top 10s, like, the top 10 bags are longer term plays, right? That's why they're not going 500% straight away. But the structure on these are absolutely amazing. That's the reason these were my top 10 bags. Sui, still chopping based at the same levels, right? Nothing's been changed. You have on the weekly an area where both buyers and sellers were active. That's still the level you held. That's the level you held twice. Therefore, you're just having a reaction off it. And again, on Sui, if you didn't take that entry down over here for a trade, you don't take a fresh one until you flip this area into support. I'll do 1 hour to 4 hour flips, right, for lower time frame entry. So let's say 1 hour flips. If you start getting breakouts and retests on the 1 hour, slowly size in until you get a couple 4 hour, until at least you get a successful 4 hour retest, right? Slowly size in on the 1 hour candle, start closing above, and then that way, you're not putting it all in over time. So if the first couple hours are successful and then you get a dump following the third or the fourth or the fifth hour, at least you're not going to be fully positioned, right? But these are just now extra steps you're going to have to take because the risk is so much higher if you are wrong here, right? So flip this, you make new highs on Sui. Otherwise, back down towards range lows you go, right? But Sui did have something very nice. It had a smiley face, even locally, right? So accumulative on the lower time frame. So now you're just getting the distribution based off that accumulation. So that is Sui. So we looked at Say and we looked at Sui. Nice one, brother. 0.59880, right? On Say. Yeah, that was a good entry. That was a good entry. Buy seller zones there. You had both 12-month and 4-month levels there. So that was a very, very good area to enter. Yeah, right there. Lena, I'll take a look for you, bro. So let's take a look. KDA, or that is now talking old school. Let's take a look. One sec. I had a couple more requests, so let me just go through them. Looks like an entry at the breakout. The last request was. Have I missed something? One sec. I swear there was another request. Okay, no. Okay, so that's that. We'll just go through some more. I'll take a look at chess for you, bro. I don't know what it is, but I'll take a look at it. Let's go to this. This one? What is this exactly? What does this what is this for, dear? 1 second. Okay. This is one of them ones, huh? Okay. Right, personally, this would not be a coin that I would trade myself. Right? This would not be a coin I trade myself. This is akin to trading a meme coin at this point in time. If you're gonna bid on this, take a risk on something, I would have just gone for got in the trenches and gone for the meme coin instead. But since you're already in, let's take a look. I've never heard of this project before, so the most simplest way to look at it now. So that retest was successful. Hang on. And this, so yeah, you got the retest here, right? So this liquidity triangle got flipped into support. Right over there, if I just zoom in real quick. So this is your demand. This was used to be supply. You went and confirmed it as demand. So that at the end of the day, in terms of price action, it could be worse, right? You rated the lows when you took that and then broke up higher, created a smiley face in the process, both on the macro and locally. Okay, okay, not bad. Now I can do no, yeah, take it from here. So now I can do this. Broke out from there. You broke out from, okay, so the one I'd be looking at right now basically is this, okay? This is the one you've already broken out from, I'll delete it. This is the one you've broken out from, I'll delete it, delete this, delete this. The one currently in play are these set of liquidity lines right over here. All I'm going to do, go ahead and create a triangle. Just the thing I like to do here. I know most people just do a singular trend line. I like to create a zone. Right? I prefer zones over over singular levels any day of the week. Zones are superior, both in terms of managing your risk, in terms of what the price action entails, reading the price action, and also your mental well-being. Right? Zones are much easier to deal with. So, chess is now at an area where buyers have to show strength. Otherwise, you risk the inverted smiley. Okay, if that happens, expect a new low. Trend hasn't been broken. Your last lower high that led to the lower low is still here, right? So if we go on to the monthly, very easy to see your last lower high that led to the lower low is right over here. This is internal structure, so I don't even know what to class that, right? On any significant time scale, however, the trend hasn't been broken. What you need to do is, obviously, you need first and foremost to flip this into support. You need to do something like this, right? That's going to make the chess chart look much nicer. And if that were to happen, your first target is here. I'm going to give you a cluster of zones because that's all you have. This thing has got so much resistance. Here's your second, literally step laddering up. Here's your third, okay? I've never seen anything have this much resistance back to back. 1 second, there we go. Here's your fourth. So what you're saying is, unless there is an absolute whale out there who knows something we don't, that is a lot of areas of supply to get above. Okay, so that is an absolute shit ton of resistance. First being this low, second being this low slash mid, third being this mid slash high, then you have this low, then this high, then this mid, then this high, then this. A lot of resistance. But forget about that for now. What you want to see is you want to see this level being flipped to support. If this doesn't get flipped to support, you're not going to go higher. Okay, you might have one more pullback down on chess. And currently, what have you done? You've hit the mid of that weekly seller zone we were talking that I just drew on, right? We've hit the mid of that trend line that I've drawn on here. Key confluence area, sellers are clearly showing an edge right now. Right? If you look at the daily, sellers are showing an edge, right? Obviously, this is not something I recommend trading on the lower time frame, but if you were to hedge a short here based on an entry you already have, your stop loss would of course be above that wick, right? But yeah, on the macro, don't focus on that lower time. On the macro, bro, you need to do this, right? You need to that's it. You just need to do that. If you don't do that, you risk this, and that's all there is to it. So you flip this, you could probably size up on the trade you've got, right? You flip this, you could size up on the trade you've got, put your stop loss break even. It's a risk-free trade, but if you don't flip this, then there's a chance you might stall out for a bit. Let's take a look. No problem. That's a good question. So let's go over that. I try not to go for these Binance cartel coins, right? That's what Peanut was. But so let's give an example of this, right? Let me open up a chart for you. A chart I hold dear in my heart. Is it even still listed? Oh my god, tell me. No way. Oh, they've been delisted. That is so peak. Damn. Wait, did they like hang on one sec. Did they like rename, or has Curator just completely gone down the drain? Because that was a GOAT project last cycle. Okay, yeah, wait one sec. 886. This is why you shouldn't go to sleep, honestly. You miss all of these pumps. I was looking at this last night with someone, with my one-on-one student. Okay, Curedo. Are they still here? QRDO, right? But if I go to TradingView and I type in QR, no, they've been delisted. There's nothing. That's crazy. RIP, bro. F's in the chat. That's crazy. Oh my god. As if they delisted that. Okay, whatever. That would have been a nice example. So basically, what typically last bull market, what used to happen, right? Project used to list, used to have the initial run, right? Obviously, everyone's piling on, and then you get the initial sell-off, right? People who bought in early, they bought before exchange listings, right? The VCs, they're dumping, they're taking profits, right? And then you'd get the pullback. You'd basically, all you do, you wait for the bottoming structure to come in after a pullback, right? You wait for your key fib levels. You just see at which fib level do we get a pullback. Doesn't have to be a 618. You could go deeper, 876, 886. Look for your harmonic structures to build. Once that happened, that's where you entered and you went, right? So Curator did exactly this. It got listed. It went up to like really, really high. I forgot what price, but it went up a fairly decent amount, right? It went up all the way to, I believe, like $20, and then it dumped. Right, listed, went to $20, and it dumped. It dumped all the way down towards like 70 cents, right? And so I bought a big bag of Curator last cycle, literally at 80 cents. As soon as I saw the bottoming structure come in, that thing went on to 10x really, really fast, right? That's literally what you're waiting for. With regards to your question, Concrete, that's what I'd be doing, right? Don't be the exit liquidity of someone listing on an exchange. The whole reason someone's listing on an exchange is like, there's insiders buying. There's going to be, the Binance cartel. The trading, they're going to be profiting, right? That's the whole point of listing on major exchanges. The liquidity comes in, but expect the initial people who who already in the project to take some heavy profits when the initial volume comes in. So never enter as soon as the exchange listing is announced. Wait for structure to develop, right? Even if you have to enter a bit higher, it's much better to wait for that confirmation than it is to be, just market longing or market buying because, oh, goody, we're on exchange, and the next thing you know, you're deep in the red, right? So, hopefully that answered your question. My strategy is literally, put down your key levels, look for harmonic structures to form, and yeah, once the actual, you can see the big sell pressure subsided, and then the absorption's going on for the sellers, that's when you then enter. I can't believe that. Got a friend called Hoff, bro. He used to go into the Curato Telegram and just bully the hell out of them after the... So funny. As if they delisted. That is crazy. Wait... I refuse to believe that though. Did they seriously delist? Coin market cap. Let's see. Just type in Q. Nice, it's gone. It's gone. That's crazy. it's only on Dexes again. I think this is the first time I've seen a project actually go back to Dex after being listed on like all major exchanges. That's crazy. And let me see if the chart is here for this, right? Let me see if you can see. Oh my god, no, I don't even think this is the right one because that is ridiculous. What? Oh wait, no, that's WETH, isn't it? Oh no, that's USD. Yeah, no, that's that. It's done for. It's done. Okay. Hang on, let's go back to this. We had a few more requests. I'll take see if anyone had any other requests. So Ondo, yeah, we move on to the Ondo chart. And then there was the GOAT and KDA. GOAT KDA. So let's go to focus. Last but not least, Ondo. Average price is all the way down over here. We've done a crazy move up, right? Basically 198% from where we were actually looking at it. The harmonic setup video, literally we were looking at it here. Nothing to say. This is at all-time highs. You either get a successful flip of this zone here. There you go, there's your zone. You either get a flip of this, right? A pullback and a flip. So if you can see successful retest of the mid, closes above 1.482. You can try and take lower time frame trade entries now, right? Or you get a deeper pullback into this liquidity pocket, right? What we have is a demand zone. You have a modified demand zone / you have a bullish order block. So I'm just going to take this as a whole zone like this. The better entry would be something like this. Okay, if you get this, definitely bid. I might size up if you get this one final size up. Increase my position size even more. I've got more than enough, but why miss the opportunity, right? I can't recommend an entry on this right now, brother. Whoever asked for Ondo, I can't recommend an entry on this right now. Either get that lower time frame flip of 12 hours for a lower time frame entry, or the higher time frame look for something like this at this deeper level. I wouldn't, yeah, that's all there is to it. Like I said, the actual, like, you know, how you would enter, I'm entering, all of that was given down over here, right, on the videos. I can't recommend entering here now. Your risk management profile has gone out the window. There's nothing I can do about that. I can try and give you a trade, right? I can give you the trade for the sake of giving a trade, but that's obviously not, you know, doing right by you, right? So personally, that's what it is. You missed it. Look for other coins where it hasn't run as hard. That's what I'd honestly be doing. Because for now, the only thing is buy spot and be okay with that being in the red for a long time in case we chop some more before going higher. It's just not optimal, right? So in all honesty, I wouldn't be looking at Ondo anymore. Not if you're not in. I would be looking at Ondo back here, set some alerts, maybe set some limits down over here, right? Reduce. And again, I don't fully go in on limits. If you do set limits, maybe 50% of your allocation, and then the remaining 50% add if your actual trade plays out and you see the confirmation here that you want, right? Because liquidity grabs are obviously a thing, and I don't want to be liquidity grabbed on spot. So down here, sure. On a lower time frame entry basis, back towards 148, sure. Where we currently are, no, nothing to be done here. Okay, let's just move on. GFI, nice. We're getting a nice move up on this one. The flip of the mid was the entry trigger I gave last stream, or the last couple of streams. Mid got flipped. Right, let's take a look. A few coins that have pumped. ENS. Right, this is the one we talked about for ETH. We said, Gartley, please, you know, you're in an area where you can try and bid. ENS, massive move up. All harmonic targets done for. You're out of the parallel channel. Pull back to this for potential entries. Otherwise, this is also missed. Let's take a look. XRP, I know someone said XRP. I will just 490% up from the average entry. My entry is 0.5. Is it like 0.56 or 0.59? Basically, this just the last size up was when we got the smiley face confirmation. Right, that's where I sized up last, basically. Did a heavy size up when we got the smiley face confirmation again because of I've already explained the structure a million times, but we also did have like a supply line break, right? So I was like, yep, I'm gonna do a heavy size up here last. So 0.56 and target hit really fast. And this is why I say, guys, like, don't listen to anyone else when it comes to trading. You gotta be your own biggest supporter, your own biggest critique, and also your own biggest backer. Right? Back yourself. Everyone else can input opinion, sure, but don't hold weight of that over your own. Right? We talked about this for very long. Even like 2023, even start of 2024, when everything was actually in the shitter. Bitcoin was doing that bearish consolidation below all-time highs. One thing we kept saying, I did a couple streams of WOG as well, where WOG jumped in and we kept saying, The XRP on the higher time frame looks good, right? For those of you why I said XRP is not for trading but for buying, this is what I kept saying to most people. Do not trade this coin, right? So I had one trade open on this back in 2022. We caught this move up basically. I posted this on my Twitter, and that was just a trade because, again, what did we have? A completed harmonic M shape, 886, Mr. Scott Carney's teachings, right? We have a completed M shape, and then you went up and validated this this harmonic again, right? You went down here, you got radon liquidity, but you closed above. So that's the reason I had this trade up and down here. We took it up, went to external liquidity, rated it, took profits, is what it is, right? Came back down, first support right over here. Chop some more, radon liquidity, right over here. You have local smiley face, also macro smiley face, right over here. 2018 to 2019, this was your 12-month buyer zone, right? Buyer seller zone, not just a buyer zone, a buyer seller zone. What I mean is, take a look. Both sellers and buyers were active in this area. So this is a very, very key area. You're saying both sides of the market are interested in bidding out in this area. So whichever side shows an edge here is the side you go with. Can you with certainty look at this and tell me sellers were showing an edge? Hell no, right? Look, every time you tried to get below the mid, buyers kept pushing you up. You kept staying above the mid. So buyers clearly have an edge. And last but not least, since 2017, right? 2016, 2017, the most important thing to consider. Whereas many Dano coins, right, many projects that came out during this time went on to make fresh lows just die against Bitcoin, right? This thing, even against Bitcoin and even against USDT, never went to make on a fresh low. It's been, for 7 years straight, higher lows, right? Yes, no higher highs, but that doesn't matter. What's important is what is the higher lows telling you? Same thing I've been saying all this time. There is an absolute shark of a market maker out there. Anytime he smells blood in the water for XRP, comes sniffing, comes hungry on a feeding frenzy. He's buying up all the supply. When I say he, of course, that's like a umbrella term, right? Could be institutions, could be governments, could be a bunch of whales. But the smart money that can actually keep this up, the people with liquidity, the whales, the market makers, right? They never let this thing make a fresh low. Right? That's why I kept telling people XRP is not a coin you trade. I never get a trade setup for XRP, but many streams I said, look, I've got a spot XRP I'm buying. Receipts are all on YouTube. Is there, right? And then so we can't be surprised when after you have an impulsive wave structure that is bullish, price action is bullish, all happening at key areas, not just in random areas, right? You have that 7-month accumulation going on. You can't be surprised when you then get all of a sudden, right? And also, can I say, obviously we know the reason XRP didn't keep going higher is because of that rat Gary Gensler, right? The SEC. So when all of that's out the window, we're going to a Trump cabinet, right? We're going to a pro-crypto cabinet for the US. We're not going to be surprised when something that's been artificially held down reprices to what the market believes to be fair value. And that's it. This is just repricing to what the market believes to be fair value. You've completely taken out your harmonic targets. You've gone to external liquidity. Another way you can look at this is if you actually go and take a look at this on log, right? So if I quickly go to XRP on log, and this was an even cleaner like look at the coin. If you take a look at XRP on something like the monthly, right? And I turn these off real quick. There we go. Just put this one on for now. If you take a look at XRP on something like the monthly, look, what did we do initially, right? We had this compression structure from 2013 to 2017. So 4-year compression structure basically, right? Like 3.5 to 4 years compression structure, massive breakout. What did we do? Again, since 2017, compress. This is your textbook symmetrical triangle, right? It was, yes, it's like, you can have a breakdown, you can also have a breakout, but on the USDT chart, when you're seeing this much bullishness, you got to ask yourself, why the hell would we all of a sudden just go break down? Right? It doesn't make any sense. Why would someone who clearly has money accumulate for 7 years only to let the price be broken down? Right? It's not going to happen. Right? So you already had a thesis that we're probably going to break to the upside. Right? So then you compressed, and then up. This is such a clean way to look at it, right? So now, if we do go to rate all-time highs on XRP, right, the target I'm looking at for, I'm not going to be the moon boy tell you XRP is going to $10 or anything like this, right? The first target is between $4.03, right, to $5.14. We've got 5 targets there. If we get above that, and I say if, because obviously that's not guaranteed, who knows, maybe the XRP haters are right. The amount of cope I see on Twitter timeline right now from the XRP pump, the amount of hate is actually crazy. But if we do SFP here, but then close back below previous all-time highs, then we can be like, okay, we've rallied liquidity, maybe we chop some more before going higher, maybe we come back down for a bit, right? But if we keep staying above and closing over the mid of this, then you can't be surprised if XRP seriously, and I mean this with a smile, with a straight face, goes towards $8.22. Okay, you have a macro 618 there. So we can't be surprised if it goes there. Of course, I'm not saying XRP is going to go there this cycle. It definitely needs to go there. But that's what I'm saying. Let's just see what happens first. Add between 361 basically to $5.14. If you can consistently stay above $5.14, then I think $8 can actually be very, very possible for XRP. But for now, first things first, $3.61. And after, if we get above $3.61, $4.03 to $5.14. Okay, that's the targets I have for XRP. Delete that. But yeah, beautiful macro chart, right? Let's take a look. So after XRP, it's KDA, and after KDA, Lena. After that, I think I might be done. So and GOAT, I did say I look at GOAT. Your sub tip. I think it's already gone probably. Okay, that's that. And I did update. If you guys don't follow my Twitter, I'd appreciate it if you did. I've been updating like the actual like positions, the PNLs and stuff in there. Just I've got a lot. I don't want a PNL dump in the channel yet, right? So I'll just do one big PowerPoint of all the like PNLs and stuff to show like receipts and shit and put it in the channel when we think everything's topped out. But there's still in the harmonic setup video I did, right? That 3-hour long video. Plus I've done follow-ups to that 3-hour long video as well with more setups and updates. There's so many plays that haven't even hit targets yet, right? So I'll be updating those over time on my Twitter, and then I'll do one mass update once I think everything's close to topping out here and all the different servers I'm in. So that's that. But next, let's look at, someone said GOAT, G-O-A-T. I was looking at this myself, and hang on, I've got a chart for this somewhere. Is it here? Yeah, GOAT. So let's take a look at this on the daily. Kind of reminds me of Mudeng before that thing went parabolic. But locally speaking, this isn't good. But also, if you want to take a risk managed play, this is where you do so. Ideally speaking, on GOAT, what we see. Come on, bro. Can I edit? How you not gonna let me have my own days, you donkey? Okay, one sec. This right here. Let me draw a box. Right, this is the area I want to see GOAT take, ideally. Or something like this. Raid, even better. But something like this, what I want to see GOAT do. If not, right? So here's the thing. GOAT's a meme, right? Don't if you enter anything with this, don't take this as a serious trade setup. Okay, the way I trade memes is I enter, I have my like a big, let's say pretty decent zone where we could chop routine. So I'm entering with reduced position size on memes, right? And if we're not actually gone deep into the zone yet. So for GOAT, I look for this pull down here. If, can I turn this midway line on this settings? Wait, settings, middle line. Yeah, there we go. If you see a successful test of the mid and you're holding it and going higher, great, right? DCA some. This, enter some, right? What you don't want to do is you don't want to be start holding this if you then start closing below this, right? Because then you've lost all structure. At the end of the day, you want the higher highs and higher lows to pertain, and that market structure will be broken, right, on the higher time frame if you go and take this out. So you don't, if you want to be bullish on GOAT, you don't want to see this low being taken, 0.41. Okay. So, ideally speaking, you can enter here, right, and then DCA at this zone, something like this. As soon as if you see the low being taken, and especially if you see a close below, you can just cut. Very simple on GOAT. Because I believe this is one of the ones that got listed on Binance, or am I mistaken in saying that? But that's GOAT, yeah. Down here, raid all the structures basically. As soon as you see a raid of this structure, you can see a lot of raids waiting to happen. Take it. I mean, you can try and, like, here's the thing, you could enter right now. I'm not saying you can't, but do so with reduced position size and DCAs, right? DCA somewhere here for GOAT. Very simple. Because you have this demand zone has been mitigated. So yeah, somewhere here. That'd be ideal entry. Somewhere around the mid. 0.51, 52, let's say. Somewhere around there. Oh, Gandhi. Oh yeah, yeah. The ME drops. Nice one, bro. Nice one, bro. Respect, man. Respect, brother. Yeah, I think the checker drops like sometime this week, right? Or in 2 days time or something like this, or in a day, to check how much ME diamonds you have. Um, oh, how do you think it's gonna go, bro? I will see, I suppose, but either it's gonna be absolutely huge or it's gonna be underwhelming, in my opinion. I don't see in between. So let's take a look. Okay, that's GOAT anyway for whoever asked. There was KDA. Um, what are you doing still trading KDA is my question to you, but I'll take a look at it anyway.
Who is trading KDA?
Someone asked for KDA, so let's take a look. Range bound. Let's take a look. Right, this is you can tell this is a very very old chart. I'm gonna look at this in a while. I know people who go into this like VC prices back in. So I mean, last cycle this went crazy, right? Like this printed actual millionaires. But like now, does it even have a narrative anymore? Like, what was KDA even? Let's take a look. Let's delete this. What? This is the KuCoin chart. Surely, one sec. Is that better? There we go. Let's take a look at this one. Another one here. Nope. Let's just go with MEXC ones. Binance Gate and MEXC. Nope. 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 Okay. We're gonna go with this one. Let's take a look at KDA. Range bound currently. You have two valid taps at the low, just one at the high. So range bound. You are range highs, so don't even think about opening anything yet, please. What you did for KDA, you went to a monthly order block, right over here. So bullish liquidity pocket, went to it. The mid got filled. So down here, honestly, wouldn't have been a bad entry if you wanted to trade this. Mid got filled, successful closes above, so you're getting a reaction off that. Where are you heading to? You're heading to a monthly seller zone. Let's look at the 3 months first, actually. Yep, 3 month seller zone, 6 month seller zone. So that looks like this. Right, so on the 6 months, this is your area where both buyers and sellers were active in the past. Sellers were active here, buyers were active here, and then sellers took control overall. Right, so whoever takes control here basically decides what happens. So very, very clear range on KDA you can see on the higher time frame, just like this. The low being your monthly demand zone, the high being your 6 month buyer seller zone, right? Now, if you keep building above 1.3483, expect $1.80 basically to get hit. I hit this high here, and I'm going to draw a monthly seller zone right over here, right? So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go with current cycle, and actually 3 months. So you have a 3 month seller zone right over here. 3 months, I'm going to color in this color, right? i.e. area where sellers were active, right? Not buyers. It's buyers were active, but sellers took control back from the buyers. That's the actual reason for this. So we're actually rejecting off the low of that for now. You clearly have a zone here which you need to watch for. That's an important zone. If you flip that, then what? $2.04. If you flip that, $2.42. Right? You're not gonna go anywhere on KDA until you start building above this level and start doing this basically. Right? So you're currently at resistance, back at range highs. Right? This thing's had a pump. If you start seeing any weakness here, right, you start seeing this, but then on the higher time frame closes below. On the daily, on the weekly, you start seeing SFPs at the mid, something like this. You can try and, if you're already in a play for this, smiley face here by the way, if you're already in a play, then you can hedge a short here, right? You are a very, very higher time frame resistance for Kadena. So if you're looking for an entry, you're not going to get one yet until, honestly, the preferred entry would, if you get something like this, right? So let me just create some zones within these zones. So if we do this, $1.35, this is 1.3483, so 1.3483 is right there. There we go. And if I go to the 3 months, I can pin it to $1.4582. Yeah, and then go to the weekly again once. You can see this is important support resistance, right? Until you flip this zone, don't look for a trade. But once you do this, right, you start getting above the, let's say, the mid of this and closing above. You know, sellers are trying to take control, but buyers keep closing the candle bodies above the mid, ideally, right? You can try and take a now local play with stop loss below the retest wick lows to this high, right? Your risk to reward at least will make sense. It'll be a trade and not a gamble. If you enter right now, it's a gamble. So that's the only thing I see, bro. Breakout attempt from sellers to get below, but basically the retest needs to be successful of the breakout. Closes above the mid on the retest. For now, you can see you're trying to get below the mid, right? Buyers tried to hold the mid. The mid wasn't retested, and right now you're getting below. But if this 1 hour closes above, you can try a low time frame entry model exactly like I described. So let's say the 1 hour to the 4 hour, right, has a successful retest, closes above this over here. So this 4 hour counted in 2 hours. If it's closed above, you can try and take a trade, right? And then if you lose this zone, just cut. But ideally, like, you know, daily or higher would be your preferred time frame at which to actually get the flip. So you can size up over time on this. Don't open your entire bag at once. Local liquidity pocket here in case you decided to go lower. But I just wouldn't be interested in Kadena. Okay, maybe I'd be interested actually if, and only if, this happened, right? If you went here, took this out, and then started to flip this, sure, you can say you've changed trend, right? But for now, I wouldn't be interested in the area we currently are until the scenario I just described comes to fruition. Otherwise, honestly, just give us a pullback back down towards here. I don't know if you get it, but I just wouldn't want to get into this until we got some sort of retest of this zone. In my opinion, there's better projects out there that can give you better rewards, right? So yeah, that's it for now on Kadena. You're at key resistance. Flip for entries on a local time scale. Otherwise, wait for that pullback. You've got a couple fair value gaps on the weekly. Maybe those get filled, right? That's that on KDA. Right. Let's take a look. No, I've not checked mine yet. I'm waiting for that checker to drop. Stake my KDA to KDX and I went down 99%. If anyone is taking anything in the bull run, especially once we start heating up, please don't put yourself in some ridiculous, like, you know, 12 or 24 month stake, right? You don't want to be staking in a bull market. That's something you do in the bear. Okay, you want to be selling these after they pump really hard. Otherwise, last thing you want is to be locked in something where you can't sell your asset after it's done some ridiculous return, and by the time you get unlocked, your staking rewards doesn't even cover like a tenth of how much you would have made if you just literally sold your project at the highs, right? Don't go into like any ridiculously long staking terms, please. Like a week or something, sure. Don't do like monthly, 3 months, 6 months, anything like this on staking. USDT dominance and Bitcoin dominance. Let's take a look. Up or down? Well, Bitcoin I can see is crashing. USDT dominance having a nice little bounce. See, this is what I mean, right? Hang on, 1 sec. There's gonna be chop. Hang on, where is it? Master list. USDT dominance. Yeah, there we go. Trying to go back towards the mid. This is a pump into resistance for now. Okay, so nothing to be worried about. But if this happens, this is gonna come. Okay, we're getting liquidation alerts. 1 second. How many people got liquidated? Oh, that is a nasty sell. Okay, a lot of selling pressure. Let's see. Look at something in terms of order flow. Something different for you guys. Yeah, you can see a negative delta across the board. Right, your initiation is all to the downside. Your point of controls are all to the downside. Yeah. How many? Should be showing me how many traders got liquidated, but it's not. If I open up order book profile, loads of bids are coming in. Positive delta, red candle. Not looking good for now. Okay, there we go. We're getting some sort of reaction to this. If this is buy bid, so no large orders will be shown. In terms of TPO, yeah, literally creating new time price opportunities as we speak. Okay. Yeah, it took a load of liquidity out. These are all imbalances, right? Buy side imbalances. You've just been taking them out ever so slowly. You still have a lot of imbalances below you. Should you decide you want to go there, you're in a lower time frame downtrend. The 4-hour super trend is also saying down, or is it up? Okay, 4-hour super trend is still up, but you are attempting to break it, right? So you've lost a 4-hour super trend. So if you go up and create another lower high on the 4 hours, this is gonna flip. Yeah, there we go. Super trends turn bearish on the 4. On the 1, it's at the bearish aspect. Yeah, so on lower time frame downtrend. What about the daily? Let me turn TPO off. Actually, wait, let's see if the daily, if this is gonna make my monitor crash. Let me turn TPO off and then go to the daily. Yeah, on the higher time frame, of course, you're completely fine, right, guys? But you know, so once you've had a deep extension like this, that's what I'm saying, and you front run a psychological level like 100k, you have no imbalances to the top side, all your imbalances to the downside. This is to be expected. Right, we're just saying there's hardly any floor. Yes, there's hardly any resistance, but it can go both ways. Because now, if you do want support, all the support is below you, obviously. But for now, all you're doing, you have daily imbalance you've gone to take out, right? So if this daily closes above the imbalance, honestly, we could very easily just carry the movement up from here. But if the daily closes below the imbalance, then we have a daily point of control in terms of a bearish candle here. That'd be the next area I look for. Lose that, then the stack of imbalances 90k. But is the initiation going on? So what happened in this candle? Your biggest bids came in up over here. Guys, no, your point of control was at the lows. You had a lot of shorts opening at the lows, but this is initiation. Basically, a lot of bids are now coming in. Right? On the lower time frame, you're trying to shift trend. So on the 3 minutes, of course, this is me just talking in terms of scalping now, something different, because normally I talk higher time frame to you guys, but I'm either a scalper or a swinger. I don't do the in-between stuff. Okay, so in terms of scalping, this is what I'm looking for basically. Anytime you're below key imbalances and you see absorption going on, one sec, I don't want you to show anything. Let me just delete that. Really? Okay, whatever. Anytime you see absorption going on, I'm going to take a scalp. If I see initiation to the upside, then I'll take a long. But in terms of structure, we have this to flip into support. Take that out, put a higher low. So this is just now lower time frame chop. Right, there was nothing here particularly telling me to go long. If I take a look, maybe there was a key level actually. If I go to log, there should be the log chart, right? Yeah, log, and I go to my BTC chart. Don't be scared if you see a load of lines. This is my personal scalping setup. Focus BTC, 3 minutes, auto. There we go. Okay, so the area we bounced from did have confluence with higher time frame levels. Market shorts were coming in, right over here. So what we're saying, high volume sell pressure, aggressive market shorting. These people could now be trapped, right? So any pullback to this that's successful could be warranted long basically from here. So this is now a sign of trap traders. So now if you see imbalances being retested as support, what I'm gonna do is just try and I'm gonna take a stab at a long. If I get, but I'm gonna wait to see what kind of reaction we get. Should we actually go and hit this area again? Hang on, not yet. You do have an order block here. Let's take a look. So yeah, market shorts coming in. You always see this, right? Aggressive selling going on at the lows, basically. Always see this. Alright, what the fuck if he signed me out? Let's take a look. Go over here. Yeah, nice little reaction from there. But yeah, this looks good for continuation to the upside slightly, right? Of course, it could just go down as the lower time frame chops inevitable, but this is the area where you would like take a risk for a scalp long, basically. Um, I do have like a head short open from a 98,260 that I'm going to take some profits on. But in terms of scalping, literally that's what you're doing. Looking at key levels and then waiting for deciphering the price action around the said key levels. That's it. What the hell? Yeah, get the reaction, get the initiation, move up, take our external liquidity. People think scalping is this like high octane extreme sport. It really isn't. Half the time you're waiting there for a reaction, for confirmation. You don't have to pull the trigger every single minute, you know. But okay, let me go back to the chart. Sorry, got distracted for a minute. Back up to resistance you go. Anyway, let me take a look here. It's my soul limit long order by 0.1. Okay, but I really need to get some food in me, guys. I've not ate anything yet. So I'll get a workout in, and then I'll get some food. But thank you guys very much for joining today. Hopefully you found this to be of value. If you guys have any of the coins, any of the charts you're looking at, just put it in chat. Tag me, put it in the crypto chat, and just tag me, okay? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Webman. Everyone, if we could all get some big W's in the chat and a thank you for Webman for today's amazing class.
Yo, thanks,
Really
brother. Appreciate
appreciate
it,
that,
man.
brother. No
Yeah,
worries.
if something crazy happens, I'll try to stream again this week. But if nothing happens, you just see me same time next week again, guys. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Again, if you need, if you want me to go over any setup you've done or any, just look at a chart, just put it in crypto chat, tag me, okay? If you don't tag me, I'm not gonna see it. So just tag me. Apart from that, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon, bro, Caleb. Bye bye.
Yeah, I shot you a DM, bro.
Yeah,
We'll
sure,
chop it
bro.
up.